Oh, you were almost sideways, but I fixed it. But wait a second. I gotta fix something else, too. We need to spring forward here. It's not 5:39. It's, well, 6:40. Might as well change the minute because it was going to change any time now anyway. Yes, we already did it, but I did it just now in the car. We sprung forward an hour tonight, or this morning. Oops, just hit the mirror. Of course, didn't really mean anything to me except that in my head, I got off work an hour early. Time-wise, I got off the same time. But I only spent 7 hours instead of 8 at work today. Something else it means, though, for us, for me especially, is that it's still dark. The sun doesn't know we changed the time. The sun still thinks it's 5:40 in the morning. So whereas normally at this time, 6:40, according to the clock, the sun would be up and blazing in our face. It's just barely starting to come up now. So hopefully it won't be too bright for a while. We'll probably get to see it when we come around the mountain when she comes. But for now it's still dark, sort of. It's dawn is what it is. Dawn's early light. Cloud cover too. This coming week is going to be a rainy week, so we'll probably have a couple of drives in the rain to look forward to. There's the Amtrak station, and look really quick, there's the big A. And it's gone. I just filled up with gas, thinking that it was going to be cheap. I heard on the news that gas prices were going down, and had already gone down in a lot of places, but not where I buy gas. Supposedly the coronavirus problem is having an effect on gas prices, oil prices, because a lot of people probably aren't going to take the trips they were going to take for spring break, which is coming up. So to entice people to do that, not give up their spring break travel plans, they're going to lower gas prices just to make it too tempting to not go on your long road trip, on your rich life of road trips. That's only funny to a certain amount of people. Yeah, usually when we're driving down this way, it's already sunny. I think it'll get sunny earlier as the earth shifts its position. I don't know exactly how it works, but for now it's still a winter sky in an almost springtime time frame, time something. going to be spring in a couple of weeks. We just set the clocks ahead a little bit sooner. Alright, enough of that. What are we listening to? We're listening to the second half of the Dr. Demento show from, I forgot the date. September 18th, 1988. Which was an all-request show. You heard the first part of that on the last video. So now we're going to hear the second part. For you, it's just a quick switch of the video, but for me, it's been 3 days since I heard part one of this show. And I was hoping that the freeways wouldn't be too crowded with a lot of people not worrying about the time change affecting their sleep. They just sleep in that extra hour. But no, I guess a lot of people still need to be someplace at 6:45 in the morning on a Sunday. Stops to make, so I'm debating on whether I should play a little regular music right now just to get us started. I'll either have to do it now or later because this CD won't last the whole trip. Although taking the short way as we are doing, it might if I were to start it now. Let's listen to a couple of songs, regular songs first, just to get started. Oh, not that one. I make the decision to listen to some regular music. I turn on the radio, and what do I hear? Led Zeppelin. Well, we can't do that. We can tease, taunt, and torment Led Zeppelin's lawyers by going like this. Oops. Was that more than a second? Ooh, yeah, yeah. Ooh, yeah, yeah, when I'm down. Ain't no copyright infringement here, it's just a bunch of noise. Trying to tell me you can tell what song this is? I don't think so. it takes for the YouTube computer to recognize it. Ooh, yeah. Oh, let me take you there. Oh.
85.5 KLOS.
I think that's enough. Let's get into all request funny songs.
97.1 KLSX. Okay, we're going to try this one more time. Dr. Dave requested this after all, so...
Just one day ago, I was waking in this night, pacing the room, alone with the stars, cold and cold bright. Darkness ruled my days. I moved like a ghost through the corners of the world, hungry at the feast, thirsty at the well. And then one day I heard the music play. Who can change my life today with a 1 to 2? Who can change my life one day life today. The one and two. Oh, that changed my life today. I'll never be blue. With my feet to the happy people, they take me to. Oh, that changed my life today. Say welcome to you. Oh, that changed my life today. Say welcome to you. Now, Mr. President wants to go to war, but chance for immortality with cameras by the scar. He could only polka, he would come into the sea. Life is meant for everyone, and not just those who think that war brings peace. Oh, that changed my life today, but I want to. Oh, that changed my life today, I'll never be blue. With my feet to the happy beat, they take me to. Oh, that changed my life today, say what we're coming to you. Oh, that changed my life today, say what we're coming to you. Let's look out.
Well, the third time was indeed the charm. Polka Changed My Life Today by Rotundi from their compact disc Play On. And they play quite a bit around town, and by all means don't miss them if you have a chance to catch their quite fascinating and stimulating live show. Now we're going to get to those bombs and war and all that, the violence that you people have been asking for. Well, here it comes, starting off with a little guerrilla warfare as memorialized in a little tune from the days of the folk revival in the early 60s. It's for Kevin on 97.1 KLSX, the Glen Coves.
An old chemist attic, so dreary and so mean. Oh, smell the fearful odors of nitroglycerine. Busy building bombs and filling cans with nails, and little starving kitties set up this tearful wail. Oh, it's Sister Jenny's turn to throw the bomb. The last one it was thrown by Brother John. Brother John, Mom's name is bad and the copper's all dead, so it's Sister Jenny's turn to throw the bomb. In a dark and dreary attic, all filled with nitro fumes, they spend each waking hour planning others' dooms. They build bombs every morning, so not a day goes by that from some smoking building goes up this mournful cry. Oh, it's Sister Jenny's turn to throw the bomb. The last one it was thrown by Brother John. Brother John, Mom's name is bad and the copper's all dead, so it's Sister Jenny's turn to throw the bomb. They're taught bomb building from the day they're born, and peace is something they all learn to scorn. They can hardly wait to see the blast and hear the noise, and watch the heads go flying off little girls and puppies. It's Sister Jenny's turn to throw the bomb. The last one it was thrown by Brother John. Brother John, whose aim is bad and his copper's all dead, so it's Sister Jenny's turn to throw the bomb. She was maiming little children one fine day, when her older brother swore she'd have to pay. Grit his teeth and pulled the pin, the whole darn house caved in, and I bet she's building bombs below this day.
house is like my cousin Roger Boone. At school when he took chemistry, they gave him lots of room. His professor used to holler from the boiler room below. Okay, Roger, show me what you know. The school was blown to kingdom come, the flames began to zoom. But down came Roger, my cousin Roger Boone. First came the steeple, then came the school books, then came the big school bell. Down came the blackboards, chalk and erasers, and Roger Boone as well. Roger made a rocket ship and called it Roger Boone. He planned a trip to Venus when the fungus was in bloom. When the jets began exploding and the sparks began to blow, now, yelled Roger, you can let me go. Began to blossom like an atom bomb in bloom. Roger rode the rocket like a witch upon a broom. Then the rocket blew to pieces, and the world was all in gloom. But down came Roger, down came Roger, the genius Roger.
Mr. Perkins, it was good of you to come in. I realize that you're a busy man, but I didn't think this matter could be discussed over the electric telephone.
No, absolutely, Headmaster. I mean, if Tommy's in some sort of trouble, then I'd like to nip it in the bud.
Well, quite frankly, Tommy is in trouble. Recently, his behavior has left a great deal to be desired.
Oh dear.
He seems to take no interest in school life whatsoever. He refuses to muck in on the sports field. And it's weeks since any master has received any written work from him.
Dear me.
Quite frankly, Mr. Perkins, if he wasn't dead, I'd have him expelled.
I beg your pardon.
Yes, expelled. If I wasn't making allowances for the fact that your son is dead, he'd be out on his ear.
Tommy's dead?
Yes, he's lying up there in sick bay now, stiff as a board, bright green. And this is, I fear, typical of his current attitude. I have pleaded with him, and so has Matron, and he will make no effort.
Can't believe he's dead. He's always such a lively boy.
Well, that's what's so galling. I mean, he has no sense of moderation. One moment he's flying around like a paper kite, the next moment he's completely immovable and beginning to spell.
Well, how did he die?
Well, is that relevant?
Yes, I think so.
Well, it's all got to do with the library. You see, we've had a lot of trouble recently with boys taking out library books without library cards. Your son was caught, and I administered a beating during which he died. But you'll be glad to know that the ringleader was caught, so I don't think we'll be having any more trouble with library discipline. You see, the library card system...
Sorry, you beat my son to death.
Yes, so it would seem. Please, I'm not used to being interrupted. The library card system was introduced.
Exactly, what happened?
Well, apparently boys were just slipping into the library and taking the books.
During the beating?
Well, one moment he was bending over, the next moment he was lying down.
Dead?
Deadish. Mr. Perkins, I find this morbid fascination of yours with your son's death quite disturbing. What I'm talking about is his attitude. Quite frankly, I can see where he gets it from.
At least I never beat him to death.
Well, that was quite obvious to me from the first day he arrived here. I wondered then, as I wonder now, if he might not have turned out to be a very different lad indeed if you had administered a few fatal beatings early on. Are you mad? I'm furious. In order to accommodate the funeral, I've had to cancel afternoon school on Wednesday. And, excuse me,
This is preposterous.
Yes, it is. Well, at least it would be if it were true. What? I've been joking, Mr. Perkins. Pardon me, it's my strange sense of humor. I've been having you on.
Thank God.
I wouldn't cancel afternoon school to bury that little...
That's Rowan Atkinson and Angus Dayton with the Fatal Beatings on the Dr. Demento Show 97.1 KLSX. Now, that is on a British comic relief album, which came out in 1986. Very similar to the comic relief TV shows and albums to help the homeless that have become an annual tradition in this country, but the British one features British comedians, as you might expect. I played it for Laura this evening on this all-request Dr. Demento show, and before that we had a couple of sicko singles from rather long ago. From 1963, The Glen Coves and It's Sister Jenny's Turn to Throw the Bomb. That was actually the B-side of a fairly big hit, which was called Hootenanny, and which I don't think you want to hear. Roger Boom came out in 1956, and the label says Lawrence Welk presents Larry Hooper. The late Larry Hooper was a longtime star on the Lawrence Welk TV show, but that has to be the weirdest thing that ever came out with Lawrence Welk's name anywhere on the label, Roger Boom. And speaking of big booms, 97.1 KLSX, this one is for Lee.
The legend of Gunga Din. Let us recreate that moment. With the enemy waiting in ambush, the humble water boy sees his beloved comrades rapidly approaching the deadly trap. He realizes fully well that sounding the bugle to warn them might mean certain death. Undaunted and oblivious to consequence, he bravely raises the bugle to his mouth and... than me. You're a better man than I am, Gunga Din.
The last blast of the Blasted Bugler, legendary novelty record. And that was the rare original long version. Sonny Giannotta was the narrator, Tommy Cardinelli played the trumpet, and Phil Camerata put it all together. Speaking of wars, a lot of songs were written about the Vietnam War, but I think the very best of all the Vietnam War songs might turn out to be one that was written just a couple of years ago, and that's coming up on the Dr. Demento Show, 97.1 KLSX.
Right here, last week, is where that truck was overturned. Do you remember? I do. Why'd I bring it up? I don't know. Point of reference.
Before we get to that Vietnam song, I'd like to play this other one for Bob. This is about a little war on the home front, Southern Division, long hair versus short hair. Now, if the events in this song, which came out in the early 70s, were to take place today, the hair lengths would probably be reversed. Think about it. The guys who have short hair in this song would probably have long hair, and the guy who gets hassled would probably be the guy with the short hair from L.A., especially if it was dyed some unnatural color. Here's Charlie Daniels, An Uneasy Rider, at 97.1 KLSX.
Taking a trip out to L.A., touring along in my Chevrolet, poking on the number and digging on the radio. Just as I crossed the Mississippi line, I heard that highway start to wind. I knew that left rear tire was about to go. Well, the spare was flat, and I got uptight because there wasn't a filling station in sight, so I just limped on down the shoulder on the rim. I went as far as I could and when I stopped the car, it was right in front of this little bar, kind of a redneck-looking joint called the Dewdrop Inn. Well, I stuffed my hair up under my hat and told the bartender that I had a flat. Would he be kind enough to give me change for a one? Well, there was one thing I was sure proud to see. There wasn't a soul in the place except for him and me, and he just looked disgusted and pointed toward the telephone. I called up a station down the road a ways, and he said he wasn't very busy today, and he could have somebody there in just about 10 minutes or so. He said, now you just stay right where you're at, and I didn't bother to tell the darn fool that I sure as hell didn't have any place else to go. I just ordered up a beer and sat down at the bar when some guy walked in and said, who owns this car with the peace sign and the mag wheels and 4 on the floor? Well, he looked at me and I damn near died, and I decided that I'd just wait outside, so I laid $1 on the bar and headed for the door. Just when I thought I'd get out of there with my skin, these 5 big dudes come strolling in with this one old drunk chick and some fellow with green tea. And I was almost at the door when the biggest one said, you tip your hat to this lady, son, and when I did, all that hair fell out from underneath. Now, the last thing I wanted was to get in a fight in Jackson, Mississippi on a Saturday night, especially when there was 3 of them and only one of me. But they all started laughing and I felt kind of sick, and I knew I'd better think of something pretty quick, so I just reached out and kicked old green teeth right in the knee. Now, he let out a yell that curl your hair, but before he could move, I grabbed me a chair and said, watch him, folks, because he's a thoroughly dangerous man. Well, you may not know it, but this man's a spy. He's an undercover agent for the FBI, and he's been sent down here to infiltrate the Ku Klux Klan. He was still bent over, holding on to his knee, but everybody else was looking and listening to me, and I laid it on thicker and heavier as I went. I said, would you believe this man? He's gone as far as tearing Wallace stickers off the bumpers of cars, and he voted for George McGovern for president. Well, he's a friend of them long-haired, hippie-type dingo fags. I Yes, I tell you guys, he may look dumb, but that's just a disguise. He's a mastermind in the ways of espionage. They all started looking real suspicious at him, and he jumped up and said, "Now just wait a minute, Jim. You know he's lying. I've been living here all of my life. I'm a faithful follower of Brother John Birch, and I belong to the Antioch Baptist Church, and I ain't even got a garage. You can call home and ask my wife." Then he started saying something about the way I was dressed, but I didn't wait around to hear the rest. I was too busy moving and hoping I didn't run out of luck. When I hit the ground, I was making tracks, and they were just taking my car down off the jack, so I threw them in a 20 and jumped in and fired that mother up. Mario Andretti would have sure been proud of the way I was moving when I passed that crowd coming out the door and headed toward me in a trot. And I guess I should have gone ahead and run, but somehow I just couldn't resist the fun of chasing them all just once around the parking lot. Well, they're headed for their car, but I hit the gas and spun around and headed them off the pass. I was slaying gravel and putting a ton of dust in the air. I had them all out there stepping and fetching like their heads were on fire and their asses was catching, but I figured I'd better go ahead and split before the cops got there. When I hit the road, I was really wheeling, had the gravel flying and the rubber squealing, and I didn't slow down till I was almost to Arkansas. Well, I think I'm going to reroute my trip. I wonder if anybody would think I flipped if I went to L.A. via Omaha.
camouflage. So here, take this dog tag, son. I know we want you to have it now. And we both said a prayer for a big marine named Camouflage. Camouflage, things are never quite the way they seem. Camouflage, this was an awfully big marine. Camouflage, things are never quite the way they seem. Camouflage, this was an awfully big marine.
That's Stan Ridgway and Camouflage on 97.1 KLSX. May not be mad music or crazy comedy as it's usually defined around here, but I'd put that one up against any war song that's ever come down the pike. Charlie Daniels before that, An Uneasy Rider. Getting close to Funny Five time, but here's a song we featured during our Salute to Cats not long ago. We did not have time for the whole thing then, but Jan Griggs of Woodland Hills heard the whole thing somewhere and wrote me a letter requesting it, so here it is.
Not yet. I'm beginning to think I was wrong in my assessment of our time. We might have more music than we got road. We'll figure it out. In the meantime, this is our first of a couple of stops. Might make 3, I don't know, since we got so much extra time. Alrighty. Hey, look, there's our reflection in the window. I'll be back in a minute. Alright. let's start this next song before we leave. And maybe we'll be finished with it before we get to where we're going next.
So here it is, Sean Hale and Lizard Heads.
Lizard heads, my kitty cat brings me lizard heads. Lizard heads, my kitty cat brings me lizard heads. She drops them off my front door. I'm the master she adores. Horny toads, blue bellies too. What cat on earth could ask for more? Sewer rats, my kitty cat brings me sewer rats. Sewer rats, my kitty cat brings me sewer rats. She leaves them for me late at night. They smell real bad, but that's alright. Sometimes they're even half alive, but she plays with them until they die. Pit bull dogs, my kitty cat brings me pit bull dogs. Pit bull dogs, my kitty cat brings me pit bull dogs. Well, you may think this sounds absurd, but I'm Joe Azusa and you got my word. She got teeth like a tiger and claws like a bear, and there's pit bull guts all everywhere. Crocodiles, my kitty cat brings me crocodiles. Crocodiles, my kitty cat brings me crocodiles. She's not Australian, but that's okay. She brings me those crocs anyway. Don't know what I'm gonna do. My front yard looks like a zoo. Komodo dragons, my kitty cat brings me Komodo dragons. My kitty cat brings me Komodo dragons. She tears them in little bits. The other side of this just gets me sick, and once she starts, she never quits. You probably think I'm full of baloney. Loch Ness Monsters, my kitty cat brings me Loch Ness Monsters. Loch Ness Monsters, my kitty cat brings me Loch Ness Monsters. She goes to Scotland and brings them back. Sometimes these monsters do attack. I'm so careful when I walk outside, cause you never know where one might hide. She brings me tarantulas, pterodactyls, Sasquatches, UFOs, rhinoceroses and big baboons, and the creature from the Black Lagoon. Black mambas and cobras by the tons, centipedes and scorpions, creatures lurking in the dark, polar bears and great white sharks. Smelly skunks and porcupines and animals I can't define. Cows that moo and pigs that squeal, piranhas and electric eels, Tasmanian devils, panthers, cheetahs, tyrannosaurus rexes and alligators, armadillos, Neanderthals, and I think that just about covers it all. Except for abominable snowmen.
With apologies for Bob Dylan, to Bob Dylan, the unexpurgated version of Sean Hale's Lizard Heads, an unreleased tape on the Dr. Demento Show, 97.1 KLSX, where it's all most funny five time.
Okay. So we got 5 songs to listen to after I finish my little chore here. Errand, chore, whatever you want to call it. I'll have to drive extra slow or get off an extra off ramp or something. I don't know. I'll figure it out. In the meantime, I gotta put you on pause. Oh gosh, hang on. I'm stretching. I'm stretching my body and I'm stretching this video. I'm about to stretch it a little bit more. Just for Chad. Alright, now you're gonna wait until 7:33? Yes, I am, Chad. And look, the video is now at 53 3. This is in case Chad doesn't get his 3s later on. At least you're going to get a couple now. All right, now give me a couple of 3s. 1, 2, 3. 2 3s. All right, I'll be back. Well, that took a while. I couldn't decide what kind of Easter candy I wanted to get. I'll be glad when candy season is over. It starts at Halloween. You get your Halloween candy stuff. Then it continues on into the holidays, the Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. You think it's over? No, no, no. We have Valentine's Day holidays. Valentine's candy. Who's that guy? And then just when Valentine's Day gets over and you think, okay, we're finished with candy. Nope, nope, nope. Easter's coming up. So we got Easter candies. Then after Easter, you get a break for the summer. Then candy season starts all over again in October. Well, let's listen to a song before we leave. How about that? I'll eat my candy while I'm doing it.
Oh, one little bit of unfinished business. So the song Camouflage was requested by Paul Bond. Thank you very much, Paul. Thanks everybody who called, and those of you who didn't hear your request this time, well, we're going to play quite a few of them next week, so don't despair. And Cheryl and Whimsical Will, Musical Mike, what time is it now? Yes, once again, it's time for the 5 most demanded discs of the week, and here they are. Yes, you asked for it, and here's number 5.
I was driving my car down the 405 when a Porsche attacked baby when I zipped in by. My hormones were pumping, I just had to see, but I came to a stop. What was in front of me? Smelling the fumes and missing my shoes and stalling my car out in the cars to the left, trucks to the right, nothing but bumpers everywhere inside. Wall to wall insanity. Have to get out, need to take a peek. Sneaking a toke in the picking my nose in the giving them hope in the if I could ask you are blocking in the pistons are knocking in the I better start walking in the miracle ahead just aside of me, the girl in the Porsche, woman of my dreams. I finally caught up, she's turning to me. Oh my God, that she's a he. Growing so old in the moving too slow in the nowhere to go but to red log, cockers are blocking, red log, pistons are knocking, red log, I better start walking.
Toyota.
I had to stop it there for a second because turning the car on was going to cut it off anyway. All right. All right now.
That's Gridlock, and that's by the Utensils. You might remember their beastie rap from last year. The Utensils with an as-yet unreleased tape called Gridlock. It's number 5 on the Funny 5. Here's number 4 on 97.1 KLSX.
Sit on my face and tell me that you love me. I'll sit on your face and tell you I love you too. I love to hear you oralize. When I'm between your thighs, you blow me away. Sit on my face and let my lips embrace you. I'll sit on your face and then I'll love you truly. Life can be fine if we're both 69. If we sit on our faces and also the faces of late till we're blown away.
Very popular number this evening by Monty Python. That once again is on the final rip-off compact disc, other formats too, and that is Sit On My Face, based on an English, a rather martial British pop song from the 30s called Sing As We Go. We'll be right back with number 3 on the Funny 5. It's making its debut on the chart.
You'd be crazy to go.
Did he say number 3, Chad? Yes, he did, Danny D. He said the next song's number 3, Danny D. It's gonna be my song, Danny D. What's it gonna be, Danny D? I don't know. Let's find out.
Dr. Demento, we're live like we are every Sunday night here on 97.1 KLSX. Coming up at 11 o'clock, Mary Turner's Off the Record with her guest, Robert Plant, second part of their interview. And at midnight tonight, the King Biscuit Flower Hour features Fleetwood Mac. And now...
Number 3.
Some time ago in South Carolina, there lived a city boy named Johnny B. Miner. Had himself a guitar and he played at night, but he'd have it back inside the case before the day died. He never ever learned to play a major chord. He said he hated the sound. Go, go, Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, go. Go, Johnny, go, go. Johnny B. Miner. He used to play that rockin' music, make you sit up in bed. To people screaming, sit up all you
bit of rock and roll history, given a new demented twist here in 1988. That's Steve Leyland and the Ruin Choir with Johnny B. Minor. Played that for the first time a couple weeks back. Quite a few calls to hear it again, so there it was. We're going to play number 2 and number 1, and then it's going to be time for a Feast of Friends with Jim Ladd. Jim's right here with me on 97.1 KLSX. Who's your guest tonight?
Well, Barry, I appreciate you letting me come on and do this little promo, but before I do, can I just do one thing I've always wanted to do in 18 years on the radio?
Okay.
I just feel so much better now. Tonight we're going to have Mr. Gary Meyer, who is from the Empowerment Project, and co-producer of a film entitled Cover Up, Beyond the Iran-Contra Affair, and Blaise Bontain from the Office of the Americas. They will be talking about allegations that are going around the country now that Ronald Reagan may have, and George Bush may have made a deal with the Ayatollah Khomeini to keep the hostages in Iran during the 1980 elections, thus assuring that Jimmy Carter was defeated. They claim to have proof of this allegation. We'll be talking about that tonight on Feast of Friends.
I always wondered about that, Jim. Yes, indeed. Should be very interesting, but then a Feast of Friends always is. Jim Ladd, a Feast of Friends, lots of fine music too, starting at 9 o'clock here on 97.1 KLSX.
On the Starship Enterprise.
Truckin' with the Firm on the Dr. Demento Funny 5 live on 97.1 KLSX. That's number 2 this week. We'll be back in 30 seconds with number 1.
30.
It's time for number 1. This is it. Here it comes, number 1.
By very popular demand, once again, Utah Phillips is number 1.
Went down and got a job with rural electrification in the Navajo Indian Reservation. Running electric power lines into all the Navajo outhouses. Was one of the first people to wire ahead for a reservation. Finally, I'll tell you about the worst job I ever had in my life. Worst job I ever had in my life was working for the was it the Santa Fe? Yeah, it was the Santa Fe Railroad, south of Las Vegas, Nevada. Yeah, that's the old Mormon Muddy Mission, you see. It's way out in what the Navajos call the boonies, out in the desert. Now, the job was gandy dancing. Now, gandy dancing used to be in the old days. Gandy dancing was when the Irish were building the railroad. Of course, the first transcontinental railroad was built by Irish laborers. And they used these long-handled shovels called Irish banjos that were made by the Gandy Shovel Company of Chicago. Now, the Irish laborer would take the wide end of the shovel when he could find it, and then he would jam it in under a rail or a tie, and he would climb out on the long handle, do a little jig step out there, and that would lever the tie up or the rail up, and you push gravel in underneath it and tamp it down, and that levels the road bed. See, that's what gandy dancing is. Leveling the road bed so the damn train doesn't fall off as it goes by, which is just a big drag for everybody. Well, they don't do gandy dancing the normal way anymore, see, like they did in the old days. Nowadays, they run 3 cars out on the line. They run a box car out there that's a bunk car. You sleep in it. Got bunks in there 18 inches apart. And then you got a tool car with your tamping irons and your tongs and your double jack hammers and spikes and all of that equipment, see, to do the job. And then you got a cook car. I mean, there's no restaurants anyplace around, so you got a cook car. Pots and pans and a coal or wood-burning stove and a long table down the middle to eat at. Only thing they don't hire is a cook. That's because they're cheap. Saves them money. Rule is that in that crew, they're supposed to pick among their own members who's going to be the cook. Now, they don't try to do it sensibly, like draw lots or decide who the best cook is. What they do is they wait and find out who bitches and whines and pisses and moans the most about the cooking. And they say, all right, wise guy, you think you can do better, you get to be the cook. Well, that was me, see? Old alligator mouth. The new man on the crew, and that was the worst food I'd ever had. I mean, it was dog bottom pie and pheasant sweat. Otter water comes out of an otter. It's a terrible, terrible stuff. Some people might think it's a delicacy, but I thought it was garp. So I complained, and they said, all right, wise guy, you get to be the cook. That made me mad, because I didn't want to cook. But I knew if anybody complained about my cooking, that they were going to have to cook. Armed with that knowledge, I sallied forth over the muddy river. I was walking around among the cheat grass and bunch grass there, and I looked down, and there was just a hell of a big moose turd. Biggest damn moose turd, that was a real steamer, damn it. I looked down at that meadow wafer, and I said to myself, Self, I'm gonna bake up a big moose turd pie. Because if anybody complains about my cooking, they're gonna have to cook. So I tipped that pasture pastry up on edge. I got my shit together, so to speak. And I started rolling it down toward the old cook car. Boom, boom. I got it down there and leaned it up against the side, and I climbed up in the cook car and I baked up a hell of a big pie shell. And I baked that moose turd in it as slick as you please. And I crimped the edges with my thumbs and laid strips of dough across it and garnished it with a sprig of parsley, a little paprika. It was beautiful. Poetry on a plate. And I served it for dessert, waiting for the first hint of a complaint. Well, this giant dude come in, about 5'40". I mean, he was big. Throwed himself down like a fool on the stool. Picked up his fork. Took a big bite of that moose turd pie. Well, he threw down his fork, and he let out a beller, and he yelled, "My God, that's moose turd pie!" It's good, though.
Utah Phillips, number 1 on the Dr. Demento Funny 5 Moose Turd Pie. Next week, we're going to be saluting baseball with Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig telling jokes, Don Drysdale and Warren Spahn singing, which is even funnier, and of course, Who's on First? Lots more of your requests, too, from all over the place. The Land of Dementia returns to KLSX next Sunday night at 7. Till then, don't forget to stay demented. And now, on 97.1 KLSX Los Angeles, A Feast of Friends with Jim Ladd.
Well, you got to hear Jim Ladd. How about that? Who's Jim Ladd, Danny D? Jim Ladd is a really famous disc jockey from the hippie days, Chad. Long before you were born. All right now, hippies. All right, I gotta go. I was stalling there for a moment. Not to drive around. To drive around, I had to stall just so you could hear that last recording. It wasn't actually a song. But I also needed to stall a little bit so I could say deuces, peace out, peace tea out, IBC root beer out, 10-4 over and out, 8-23 and out. All right now, I got a 3. Yes, you did. Bye. Collect.